Hi guys, welcome to Creatively Homemade. Thank you so much for watching my video today. If you are new to my channel, my name is Jennifer and I love to share fun cards and party favors and other paper crafting projects. So today I have a cute little Christmas card for you. Isn't that just adorable? It features a little stamped snowman from the Spirited Snowmen stamp set. That's the stamp set I'm going to be featuring all week long. And then it's got a really pretty background. It's made with the Swirls Curls embossing folder. This card is so easy to make, but the real star is the coloring, and I'm going to show you how to do that with Stampin' Blend markers. So let's get started, and I will show you how easy it is to put this card together. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the supplies you're going to need to make this card. You're going to need the Spirited Snowmen stamp set. Now, if you love to color, this is a really cute one to add to your craft library. You're going to need the Swirls and Curls embossing folder. Now, if you would like the chance to earn this for free, be sure to check out the details in the description box below. This is my free gift for the month of November. You're going to need the Layering Ovals die set. You're going to need the classic label punch. Paper colors, you're going to need Cherry Cobbler, Whisper White, and Night of Navy cardstock. You're going to need an archival black ink so that when you color in with your Stampin' Blend markers, the ink doesn't run for your image, the outline on the snowman. So I am using StazOn. You're going to need Stampin' Blend markers. I'm using Night of Navy, Cherry Cobbler, Daffodil Delight, and Crumb Cake. You're going to need a Wink of Stella pen. That just adds, I use that to color in the snowman body, and it gives a little bit of glitter. I don't think that's going to show up, but his body is glittery, and it's really, really cute. And then you're going to need a couple of embellishments. You need a ribbon. I'm using the gold metallic edge ribbon, and I'm using some self-adhesive rhinestones. Okay, you want to start with cutting your paper. So I have a piece of Whisper White cardstock that is 8.5 inches by 5.5 inches, and I'm just going to score that to form my card base at 4.25 inches. Then fold that in half for your card base. You're going to need a Night of Navy layer that is 5.25 inches by 4 inches. That's going to be the embossed piece. You're going to need a scrap of Cherry Cobbler. You're going to cut a die cut and a paper punch for the label for that. And then you're going to need some scraps of Whisper White to do your stamping. So next, let's do our stamping. You need 2 stamps from the Spirited Snowmen stamp set. You need this little ice skating snowman, and then you need Your Friendship Warms My Heart. So I already have those mounted on clear blacks, and I've pulled out my black ink. So you just on your scraps of Whisper White paper, ink up the snowman. He's the one that absolutely has to be inked up in the archival ink because we're going to be coloring him. So you just want to stamp him on that scrap. And then the sentiment does not need archival ink, so I'm just using Memento for that. You can use StazOn if you want. I don't use StazOn unless I need to because it's harder to clean off. So then just stamp that on your other piece of Whisper White paper. You're going to be using a paper punch on this, so stamp it down near the bottom. And that's the only stamping that you need to do for this card. Okay, next we are going to color in that cute little snowman. I did not mention it in the supplies, but you also need pumpkin pie Stampin' Blends. That's to do the little snowman nose. So I'm going to start with that. Oops. When you are using these Stampin' Blends, you always want to start with the darkest color. And I kind of add some shading. I pick one side where, let's say, the light is shining from the left. So then anything on the right is going to be darker. So that's the lines that I make. Yeah, I emphasize with the darker Stampin' Blend. And then I go back and color the image with the lighter blend, and it gives shading. And I kind of use a circular motion to color that in, and that helps the light and the dark blend. So next I think I'm going to do the little skates. and the arms. So I'm going to use the darker of the crumb cake to color in the arms, and I'm using the thin tip. Stampin' Blends has two sizes of tips. It's got a brush tip for larger areas and a thinner tip for coloring smaller, more detailed areas. So for this image, I'm mostly using the thinner tip. Just coloring in his arm here, make that brown. Okay, and I'm going to do the skates as well. I'm going to color those in first with the dark along the bottom edge. I'm going to color the heel dark, and then I'm going to go back with the light crumb cake marker and blend that in. Just in a circular motion, I found works best to really get it blended. And if you find, you know, after you finish an area and you find you don't think it's blended well enough, you can go back and color over it again. Oh, and one thing I forgot to mention, anytime you're using Stampin' Blend markers, it will bleed through the paper, so you want something down to protect your work surface. You can see there it's bleeding through. So I really should have had this scrap paper down to protect my surface from the very beginning. Next, I'm going to use gray for the skates. That's another color I didn't give you. I have the whole set of Stampin' Blends, so it's really easy to pull out what I need. If you're going to invest in them, I would recommend just getting the whole set right from the start. That way you have any color that you need. So I'm coloring the skate blades in Smoky Slate. I'm going to do the buttons in Night of Navy. So I'm just doing the darker color. It looks more black. Okay. I'm going to use Cherry Cobbler for the little pom-poms. Now really small spaces like this, it's hard to do shading, so I just use one color. But the bigger spaces like on the hats, that I will use two colors for. And I just noticed a little spot I missed on the arm there, so I'm going to go back and color that. Okay. Now the hat and the scarf I am going to do in 3 different colors. So I'm doing Cherry Cobbler, Night of Navy, and Daffodil Delight. And I'm just going to stripe them. So I'm going to start with the Night of Navy. In the areas that are going to be Night of Navy, I will do some shading since that's a bigger area. Then I'll go back over it with the lighter. I'm not much of a coloring person, but it is kind of fun to play with these Stampin' Blends. I like the look it gives it. Okay, now I'm going to go back and stripe. So next I think I'm going to use the Cherry Cobbler. So I started with the dark and now I'm going back with the light. And then the last step on the hat is to do the yellow. So that's Daffodil Delight. So I'm going to go back in with this one, the lighter shade. And then the scarf, I'm going to do the same thing, only I am only going to use one of the shades. I'll probably use the light and just alternate the blue, red, and yellow and finish that scarf. So there is the snowman all colored in. Now I want to take that Wink of Stella glitter pen. You want to shake it up a little bit, and then you want to run over like the snowman head and the snowman body, and that is just going to add a touch of glitter that's going to be a really nice accent for your card. So just use that glitter all around the snowman body. Like I said, it won't show up on video very well. It's a light glitter, but it's just such a pretty touch. And so that's what the completed image is going to look like. Like I said, I'm no expert at coloring, but I love the look the Stampin' Blends gives you. They're so easy to use. Okay, next we're going to use that classic label punch to cut out a sentiment and an additional shape out of cherry cobbler. So turn that paper punch over and open it up, and then you want to center that sentiment in the window. And when you have it centered, give it a punch, and then just do another shape from a scrap of cherry cobbler. Okay, now I've pulled out my die cut machine. We need to cut some ovals and do some embossing. I'm using my multi-purpose platform that came with my machine, and for embossing you need to open it up to tab number 1. So go ahead and slide that into your machine. With embossing folders, you still use a standard sandwich, so put one plate down. Then we're going to emboss that Night of Navy piece that we cut earlier, so put that in the Swirls and Curls embossing folder. Set that on the plate and add your top plate, and then run it through. And that is what it's going to look like when next we're going to cut some ovals using that Layering Ovals die set. Now if you've not seen this before, this has regular ovals in a variety of sizes, and then it also has scalloped ovals that you can use for layering. I've just got those on magnetic sheets for easy retrieval. So to cut out the snowman, you need the second largest oval. I'm going to put my little snowman image down on my magnetic platform and center that oval around him. Add the top plate and run that through. Okay, after you cut out your snowman, you want to put a piece of cherry cobbler down on your magnetic platform, and you want to use the largest scalloped oval. And I'll have those exact sizes for those dies in my blog post, so if you want to check that out, but it's the largest one. And you will see that that layers perfectly and leaves a little scalloped edge around your stamped image. So cute. Okay, so now we have all our pieces and we are ready to put this card together. So I've just pulled out my standard adhesives that I use. I have mini glue dots, Stampin' Dimensionals, tear and tape adhesive, and snail tape runner. I've got that ribbon that I told you about earlier. It's the metallic edge ribbon. It's 3/8 inches. I've got the gold one. It's also available in silver. So I'm going to run this down the middle of that card, and I'm going to use glue dots to adhere it on the back. So you don't need much hanging over, maybe a 1/2 inch. No need to measure, just cut that ribbon off. This is going to go, the ends are going to go on the back of your embossed layer. So I'm just going to put one back about in the middle to hold it down while I'm putting the card together. And then I'm going to flip that over and use glue dots on either ends just to hold it down while I'm putting things together. Okay, so fold those ends over to the back of the card and press those in place. Okay, and flip that back over. Next, since this is an embossed piece, normally, you know, card layers I put down with snail adhesive. I'm going to use tear and tape adhesive because since this is embossed and it has texture, I want to make sure that it sticks down and does not come up. And tear and tape adhesive is a little bit stronger adhesive. Now it takes a little bit longer to put on and you have to pry up that backing, but it's worth it to make sure this layer stays down on your card. So I'm just going to run that along the edge on all sides. Okay, now after you have your tear and tape adhesive around all the sides, just use a fingernail or a paper piercing tool to pry up that backing and take it off. Okay. And then press that embossed layer to the, and just press that in place to ensure that that adhesive sticks. Next thing we're going to do is use snail tape runner to put the snowmen down to the cherry cobbler scalloped oval. Whoops. Got the dropsies today. Okay, so that's going to be what that looks like. Then you need those two little classic labels. Go ahead and add snail adhesive to the back of the sentiment. And then you're going to offset this a little bit. You're going to put it a little bit up and a little bit to the right. So it just gives kind of a shadow effect. So now we're going to stick everything down. Your snowman is going to go towards the top of the card a little bit, maybe 3/4 inch from the top of the card, and then the sentiment is going to go down here in the right corner, and I'm going to use Stampin' Dimensionals to adhere that so it pops up a little bit and gives it some dimension. Whoops. I have butterfingers today. I don't know what my problem is. Okay, so I just removed the backing from the Stampin' Dimensionals, and I'm going to stick the little snowman down on the card. And then I'm going to use mini Stampin' Dimensionals, I think. Actually, you know what? I'm going to show you something else. There's the little edges around the Stampin' Dimensionals when you use all these can also be used. So just use scissors to cut them up. And that way you're not wasting them. So I'm going to add a couple of those little scraps on this little label. Now, we also sell mini Stampin' Dimensionals. I just didn't remember to get them out. So those would work well as well. I just don't like to waste those edges. Makes your sheet last a little bit longer. And then stick that sentiment down in the lower right corner. Now the last little finishing touch on this card is to add little rhinestones around the sentiments. So I'm going to put one at one end and one at the other. Just adds a little bit more glitz to your card. So there is that finished card. So cute. I love the background and I love that cute little snowman image. If you like to color, this is a really great set to have. Super cute. So if you need any of the supplies that I featured in this video, including that Spirited Snowmen stamp set, I have links down in the description box below to all the supplies that I used, and that goes directly to my online Stampin' Up store, so you can purchase those directly. Now, if you don't already have a Stampin' Up demonstrator and you're in the United States, I would welcome the chance to earn your business, so please let me know if you have any questions or I can help you out in any way. And just a reminder, if you are interested in the Swirls and Curls stamp or embossing folder, this is my free gift for the month of November with a $50 purchase when you use the host code. So be sure to check out the description box below and see all the details about that. That offer expires November 30th. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this cute little card tutorial and it has inspired you to make some Christmas cards. Thank you guys so much for watching, and if you want to see more of my videos, be sure to subscribe to my channel. Until next time, happy crafting!